Ahmed Alnaouq, thank you. First of all, it's almost impossible to muster the level of condolence commanded by the losses that you have personally suffered, along with your people, dying in enormous numbers. But you are someone that we can look at and hear from, and who can tell us directly, personally, what happened to their family, to their friends. And we'd be grateful if you would.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Actually, I feel a little bit lucky today because I speak English, and because I speak English, I can talk about my family. And I'm also lucky because I live in London, where I have internet connection to tell you about the loss of my family. Unfortunately, there are 2.2 million people in Gaza who have lost a lot of family members, who cannot speak English and who cannot have internet access. And that's why their stories are now buried under the rubble with their own families. And my story is very similar to 1,000 other families. 1,000 other people are just like me who have lost their entire family. What happened to me is in October the 22nd, my family was sleeping in their home. There was my father, my two brothers, my three sisters, and all of their children. There were about 14 children in their house. And Israel bombed the home, just like that, without any excuse, without any justification. They bombed their home, and they all died. All of my family, everyone I care about, my home, where I had my childhood, where I was raised, my father, who was 75 years old, who was born only a few months after the Nakba, my three sisters, some of them are engineers, teachers, human rights activists, lawyers. All of them were killed with 14 kids, 14 of their kids. They were all massacred. And my story is not unique. I'm not the only one who lost all of his family members. There are about 1,000 families in Gaza who have been wiped out from the civil record. All of them have been a victim of this genocidal, barbaric war that Israel launched against the Palestinian people. And this is a war that is waged against everyone in the Palestinian people. It's not a war against Hamas. We have to confront what the Western media is telling you. This is not a war against Hamas. This is a war against the Palestinian people. And all the Palestinian people have been affected by this war. And the worst thing that happens to the Palestinians right now is not only killing them, it's also starving them. There are 1.1 million Palestinian children who live in Gaza are now facing starvation, thirst, lack of medical equipment, lack of medical support. This is a genocide that's taking place in Gaza live on TV screens, and everyone is watching. And worse, now we are seeing that the Western media and the British and the American governments are supporting Israel with whatever they need in order to continue massacring the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, I'm not the only one who have lost his family members. As I said, another 1,000 families have been wiped out from the Gaza Strip. More than 15,000 people have been killed already in the Gaza Strip. More than 50,000 people have been injured. The situation in Palestine is very difficult. It's very dire, and we need some action, and action now.
This is a terrible dilemma. Should people spread themselves out in a perhaps vain hope that some will survive and continue the bloodline, or should they gather together and all die together? In your family's case, they all died together. And are you the last surviving member of your family in that case?
Well, actually, I have always been very proud that I have a very big family. I have 8 siblings. Israel killed 6 of them, and there are 3 survived now, me and my 2 sisters. My 2 sisters live in Deir al-Balah. They're bereaved, they're heartbroken, they're under bombardment right now. So I'm very lucky to have 2 sisters left. Israel killed six siblings and my father, and also Israel killed my mother 3 years ago, not directly, indirectly, because she had cancer and they refused to give her the permit to travel to receive a treatment. This is our life. And I'm very worried. I'm sick worried about my two other sisters who live there. And no one is safe in Gaza. So I'm just literally waiting for the news from them. I lost contact with one of them for 10 days now already. And the other one, I could talk to her from now and then, and they're very scared and they're still under bombardment. I don't know if they will survive or if they will lose or if they will die. I don't know.
Tell us about your friend, the distinguished medical doctor, uh, who was not only himself with his family killed, but now his two brothers trying to recover his body have themselves also been killed.
This is my friend Maisara. Maisara is like a brother to me. We are best friends, and I love him to bits. He's a very noble man. He's a very distinguished man. He's very talented. We were both selected to go to the UK to receive the Chevening scholarship. Chevening is an FCDO scholarship that is given to young leaders from the countries in which they provide us with a master's degree scholarship to study in the UK. And Maisara and I were selected to come here to study our masters in the UK. So Maisara was a medical doctor. So he did his master's degree at King's College London. He was specializing in women and children health. And then at COVID time, when the country was locked, he chose to come to Leeds, where I lived, and he stayed at my flat for 7 or 8 months. We lived together during these 8 months, and uh, all the memories I share with him are pleasant memories. I never had any unpleasant memory with him. He was kind, he was lovely, he was always cheerful, he was always laughing, uh, and he was very talented. He was very talented. One of the smartest people I know. He was very hard worker, and he never ever belonged to any political party whatsoever. He was dedicated to his education, to the medical career that he had. And then after he finished his master's degree, he even got the tests to be a qualified doctor in the UK. And after doing the test, his father called him and he asked him to return to Gaza because he was very attached to his father. And just like that, he went back home. He got married to the love of his wife 3 months ago only, and he was having a successful life. He came to London 2 months ago to do his honeymoon. He was very happy with his wife, and we spent some good time together in London. And then he returned to Gaza. He said he can't leave Gaza. He's very attached to Gaza. When the war started, he was very scared. We were communicating all the time on our own WhatsApp, and he was telling us how scared he is, how disappointed he is from all of this world that allowed Israel to do these massacres. And then he said something that I could never forget. He said sometimes during this wartime, he would be chatting with his family, maybe having a dinner together and cracking some jokes here or there to stress release the pain and the suffering that they're willing. And then he said, while he have this rare laughter during this war, he remembers that other families were sitting in their home, having the same laughter, sharing the same moments, and then just like that, they're under rubble. He said that his worst fear is that his home is bombed and he's stuck under the rubble while he's surviving and he didn't die and he doesn't die. And this is actually what happened to him. 3 days ago, Israel bombed his home, six-story building. All of his family were inside, and all of them are still under the rubble until this moment. We don't know if he's still alive or dead, but 100% he's dead because the whole building was flattened, it was destroyed, and he's still under the rubble. His two brothers who were not living with him in the same family, they decided to go and to dig with their bare hands in order to retrieve his bodies. And then when Israel saw his bodies, his brothers trying to retrieve the body, they bombed him and they were also killed. It's a shame. It's a loss. Maisara is a very noble man. He's a very handsome young man. He did not deserve in this barbaric genocidal war. He deserved to live and to have a decent
Well,
life.
There are no words really to follow that testimony. Let me just ask you one final question, if I may. Uh, the footage I saw today of what seemed to be thousands, but may have been many more than thousands, of Palestinians being marched under military escort into another exile was redolent for me of many things in history, one of them the Nakba itself, and actually also the Holocaust itself. The people being marched into the ghettos, or in Babi Yar marched into the pits, or in the rest of Western Europe being marched to the railway station and onto the trains. It chilled me. I wonder how it looked to you and what you think it presages.
When I saw these images today, the first thing that came to my mind is the Nakba, the second Nakba. 75 years ago, Israel, it wasn't Israel, it was Zionist militias in Palestine. They bombed the Palestinian villages and cities. They killed the people who lived there and destroyed their neighborhoods. And then they forced the Palestinians to leave their homes and lands to make a way for the establishment of Israel. And today, Israel is doing the same thing. They are destroying the Palestinian neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip. They're forcing the Palestinians who live north of the Gaza Strip to move south of the Gaza Strip in preparation to their ethnic cleansing, to the genocide that they are going to put in motion. And the Israelis think that they did it before. They did it 75 years ago, and they will do it again. And they think that the world will let them do that. And unfortunately, it pains me to see that the world is enabling Israel to do another Nakba, another ethnic cleansing, another genocide, another massacre against the Palestinian people. Right on TV, on your screens, everyone is watching, and no one is doing anything. It's actually America is providing Israel with the weapons, with the money in order to do this massacre and genocide against the Palestinian people. It's happening again. History is repeating itself. And the Palestinians have been on the receiving end of this trauma, of this suffering. And the world is watching, and no one is doing anything. Now the Israelis are bombing, killing as many civilians as possible. And they're locking them inside Gaza, asking them to leave from the north to the south, bombing the bakeries, bombing bombing schools, bombing shelters, bombing hospitals. They're killing many civilians in order to threaten and intimidate others, in order to force them to leave their homes and lands and never come back. This is ethnic cleansing what's happening. This is a genocide what's happening. It is another Nakba. It's worse than the first Nakba. And by the way, it's not only Gaza, because right now they will deal with Gaza. Once the Gaza issue is dealt with, they will go to the West Bank, and they will go to the Palestinians who live inside Israel. It's a catastrophe what's going on, and the world needs to wake up. The world needs to wake up and to do something to stop all of this suffering of the Palestinian people. I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked that it is happening live on your cameras, and no one is acting. No one is doing anything. Do you know why? Because here, unfortunately, in the West, we Palestinians are perceived as less worthy, as less human beings, that we do not deserve to live, that the Israelis are more worthy of life. What happened the 7th of October, we have seen all the world do a huge backlash, talk about it, condemn the Palestinians, but something worse than what happened to Israel is happening to the Palestinians right now. But all of us, we the Palestinians, we don't matter anymore. They don't care about us. Civilians, children, women, men are dying, are being killed brutally in a barbaric manner, in a barbaric way, in the 21st century, in the world of social media and live TV, and the world is watching, not doing anything. It's really heartbreaking. It's really annoying. It's painful. It's painful. It's very painful to see that the world is not reacting, that Israel can do whatever it wants, and no one is saying no to Israel. So it's another Nakba. It's a second Nakba.
Ahmed, our deepest sympathies on your loss and our inspiration, really, in the power of your testimony. I'm very glad that you joined us tonight on the Mother of All talk shows. I think what you said tonight will never be forgotten.